right, East Hill Cemetery, founded 1857, is listed on the Virginia Landmark of Register. And it was done in 2011. I'm sure our good friend Bud Phillips had something to do with that.
No question.
At the entrance here, you'll see the 10 Commandments, which I'm glad no one has had removed. Tom?
Yes.
Read this plaque for us right here.
The first burial in East Hill Cemetery was a 5-year-old girl in 1857. Since that time, there have been approximately 4,000 burials, including the founder of Bristol. There are approximately 300 Civil War soldiers, veterans from other wars, and a slave section upon these grounds. East Hill Cemetery was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2011 and continues to be an active cemetery today. I shot nut.
So here we go. There's a lot of really old graves here at East Hill. And like you had heard back there on that sign, more than 4,000 graves here. We're going to try to make our way up to Bud Phillips' grave. He was Bristol's historian for many, many years. We'll show you some old slave graves. There's a beautiful marker. At least they really maintain this cemetery. There's another one in town called Susong Cemetery, and those of you that know me and my wife Rhonda knows that we led a huge cleanup there not long ago. This grave here is dedicated to Joseph Ray Anderson, 1819 to 1888. He is the founder of Bristol. More of the Anderson family, his ancestors, are also buried here. Mr. Kirby of the Kirby Vacuum Cleaner Company. I'm just kidding. There is a grave up here for a Mr. Pepper that Bud Phillips had told me about that does have something to do with the soft drink Dr. Pepper. So we will try to find his grave. I notice there's a lot of Masonic graves in here. Tons of them. I'm just kind of taking you with me on the walk. So just be patient and bear with me here. A lot of very extravagant graves here. I think it's really cool. Me and Rhonda and Sophia, we love to go to cemeteries and look around sometimes at all the old markers. It's really cool. Check this one out over here. It's like a log laying there. Pretty cool. But Bud Phillips had a lot to do with the history preservation of Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia. He actually moved here in around 1957, I think he told me. And he just fell in love with the area and told stories, gathered artifacts. And it's really, really a shame that all that history passed away with Mr. Bud Phillips. He was loved by many people here in town. And I'm getting ready to show you his grave. This is the other end of Bud Phillips Drive, rightfully named. And we were way down the other end of that. And if you notice, Beautiful markers here. But he's right to where he wanted to be. Tom,
Pleasant Hill Garden.
I'd like you to read this for us about Bud Phillips.
By the way, Pleasant Hill Garden is his name, and it's named after his house.
Pleasant Hill.
Yeah, Pleasant Hill. Yeah. Okay, read this.
Yes.
City historian, erected by friends in honor of V.N. Bud Phillips, who came to Bristol as a total stranger on August 20th, 1953, yet in time became one of her best-known, highly respected, and influential citizens. So much so that Bud Phillips Day was celebrated in Bristol on May 5th, 2004, and on April 27th, 2008, he received a Mayor's Outstanding Citizens Award. Though he came here with no knowledge of the city's past, he eventually wrote several books of local history, a very popular newspaper column, had 2 television shows, 1 radio show, gave countless speeches, and conducted numerous tours, all dedicated to the exhaustive history of his chosen city. In 2006, he was made the official historian of Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee. He long resided at historic Pleasant Hill at 214 Johnson Street in Bristol, Virginia. Truly, he was a workman that needeth not to be ashamed.
And we will go visit that house next, won't we, Tom?
Absolutely, you got it. You got it. Hey, you know where he lived when he first moved here?
Where?
He told me. He lived at the old YMCA.
Oh, really?
Which was, do you know where that was?
Let me get a picture of this real quick.
Memorial Garden, named for old Pleasant Hill, long the home of V.N. Bud Phillips, author, historian, orator, newspaper columnist who gave the best years of his life for the good of Bristol. In a garden, the kiss of the sun for pardon, the song of birds for mirth, one as near as God's heart in a garden than anywhere else on earth.
And a perfect bench for the spirit of Bud Phillips to sit and look right down State Street, Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia, the place that he called home. Dr. Samuel J. James, born August 7th, 1861, till April the 26th, 1902.
Amen.
Here is Mr. Smith's marker. And what did you say he did about the foundations in Bristol?
He built most of the foundations that are made of brick throughout downtown Bristol and along State Street and beyond. Mr. Smith had a hand in that, hence the brick monument for his final rest.
And Bud had told me that he actually lived across the street because he wanted to see his grave marker from his front porch. All right, and we did find the Pepper grave, so Tom, tell us about that.
Would you like a Dr. Pepper today? Well, you're standing at his final resting place. George P. Pepper, aged almost 83. He was 82 years old, April 9th, 1887. But for those of you who enjoy the Dr. Pepper, you have him to thank for that.
We are at the first burial of East Hill Cemetery, and this is the child grave, right, Tom?
Yes, Nellie Gaines. She was 5 years old. Reverend James King preached her funeral using the text, "Suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew 19:14.
This is a little bit about her. This is the first grave. And also one of the graves that they say is haunted, correct?
Yes. Well, they say much of East Hill is haunted.
Now what about Si's grave? Isn't he right down here?
Now, right over here is where the slave burial.
We'll check it out before we go to Evan Shelby's over here.
You can see a little bit of the gate to the left. See the gate right there? There are 2 pieces of it left. That map was under weed stuff back, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. All of it was under weed.
And here we are, the slave section. All right, Tom, come here and read this one for us.
Slave section of East Hill Cemetery. This site was established in 1857 by Bristol founder Joseph Ray Anderson for the purpose of a slave cemetery. Buried nearby are 12 slaves, including old St. Goodson, who died in 1862, reportedly at the age of 132, reputed to be the oldest man in the world. Others include Si's son, Abe, who walked to Bristol from Mississippi. Melzita, Aunt Mellie Anderson, a cook for the Anderson family, died 1857. Jacob Jake Bosang, whose grave was marked for years with a white post. Rosie Anderson died 1859. Luanna Goodson, Mary Stoffel, Luke Anderson died 1862. Caesar Susong, and others unknown.
And Bud had told Rhonda a story, and it's also in his book, about how Si lived to be so long that he would go down to Beaver Creek and he would drink of the water and eat honey every day, because that's what the Lord had told him to do. And he said that was the reason why he had lived so long. Here we are at the Field of Honor. All of Bristol's Confederate and Union soldiers that look at all of these Confederate and Union soldier graves right here in Bristol. But the most popular one here is probably Mr. Evan Shelby. Tom, what do you know about Mr. Shelby?
Well, Evan Shelby, Fort Shelby in Bristol was named after him. And he was born, I believe he was born in Ireland. It was either Ireland or England. Revolutionary War general. He was originally buried in downtown Bristol, approximately where the library in Bristol, Tennessee sits today. There was a cemetery there, and that's where he was originally buried. And they transported his body here, and it was placed here. I'm not sure exactly when it was. Yeah, he was born in Wales. He was born in Wales. Anyway, as the men were carrying his coffin of bones, and that's what it was a coffin of bones, up the hill, one of the fellows heard a scream and was spooked in the moment, dropped the bones, and took off and ran the other way. So they had to pick up his bones, reinstall them inside the coffin, and brought him here to lay where he has been ever since.
I know I've also saw a picture of this where this metal marker
That was like in the 1850s.
was standing up. That marker used to be standing upright.
By the way, that marker, does that look familiar to you, Matt?
Yeah, it looks like the one down at the other cemetery.
That's who made that. Yeah, that ironworks made that. It's made out of iron. Of course, over there are the ceremonial markers for the Confederate soldiers.
Walk over there and take a look at all these.
You know, they are gradually adding names to the big marker, the big monument. They had their flags up last week. That's awesome.
Okay, let me tell you what happened. I hit the night vision button on accident. It's not a ghost. So, sorry about that. Hated to disappoint you guys, but I actually hit the night vision button on my camera. It's new and I just don't know how to use it yet. We're out of the black and white mode. We're kind of back to color here just to kind of show you some things. We think this is really cool up here.
Look at this towering tree behind you. Wonder when that tree was planted.
A long, long time ago.
I would say, of all the things that have witnessed these bears, Matt, what if, well, you know how East Hill Cemetery is reputed to be haunted.
Yeah.
Folks say there are ghosts all around. Bud Phillips was a firm believer that there were ghosts here. What if, while perusing East Hill Cemetery one day, or one night, what if you felt the hand of an unseen person on your shoulder?
Okay.
What would you do?
Did you see the episode about the vulture?
Yes.
Okay. Just like Rhonda, I would throw you down and I would be gone.
One has been broke. The immensity of East Hill Cemetery is quite impressive.
Here we are coming down from Bud's view down State Street from East Hill Cemetery. There's the back side of the legendary Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee, good place to live sign, and downtown Bristol. Right over there on the corner is where Mr. Anderson had his house, and that was the first house and stuff here in Bristol. And also, there's a marker there for the legendary 1927 Bristol sessions. Here we are traveling down the legendary State Street. We're on the Virginia side right now, and directly across the street there is Tennessee. It's divided in the middle of town by some markers that's laid in the middle of the yellow stripes down the center of the street. And there they are. Where we are today, this is Piedmont Avenue, and there is the Piedmont Avenue Cafe and the Blackbird Bakery right there. Underneath this road is where me and Tom traveled in that kayak on a past episode, fighting the bats. Turning up Sycamore here off of Piedmont Avenue towards the home of Bud Phillips. Here we are on Kings Alley, and this is a back entrance that Bud used to take to park. Kind of top secret, kind of like the Bat Cave for Bud Phillips. Really close to the railroad tracks down there, we noticed too, but that was hard for him to sleep. Here we are, established in 1872. It is Pleasant Hill, the last and legendary home of Bristol historian Bud Phillips. Recently has received an award from the city of Bristol Historic District for the Preservation Award. Well deserved.
Historic Pleasant Hill, erected 1872 for Captain J.H. Wood. Jefferson Davis was an overnight guest here, August 22nd, 23rd, 1873. He slept in the north upstairs bedroom, long the home of noted historian and author Bud Phillips. Right there. What's that sign right there?
The sign for his lawyer office right here.
Oh.
But anyway, any windows or anything we can see in today, but I'm going to call Mr. Kim Buchanan, buddy of mine, see if he can arrange for me to go in and film one day. But this is Pleasant Hill.